See if this looks familiar at all. Hey, you know, honey, I would really like it if you and I could just connect a little bit. You know, like I just don't feel like we're connecting.
We went for a walk with the kids last week. I mean, we spent quite a bit of time together.
Well, you know, Tom, that's not really my idea of connecting. Like, I mean, you and I just getting together and, you know.
How are we going to do that? Look at all the things we have to do. I mean, there's just not enough time. I mean, we can do it with the kids. We can hang out with them. I mean,
So you're telling me that we can't connect?
Well, sure. You know, maybe later.
Well, you know, there's not going to be a later if I don't feel like we can at least have a conversation. Later will not happen, I can guarantee you that.
I hear you.
Okay, well, I have an idea. Why don't we try that stuff that we've been learning in that course? Why don't you try using some of those reflective listening skills?
That's a good idea.
Okay, thank you. So, let's give this a whirl. Okay, I go first?
Yeah.
Okay, how about I'd really like to spend some time connecting?
I hear you.
Okay, and you know, sometimes I actually feel kind of lonely, even when we're together, because I just feel like, who is this man in front of me? I don't even know him anymore.
I hear you.
What are you doing?
Nothing?
Okay. All right.
No, I'm
So,
listening.
okay.
I'm listening.
All right.
Yeah.
So, do you think that then maybe we could go for a date, get a babysitter, and maybe go out on Thursday night?
I understand that. That's great. That's a great idea.
Okay. That's not bad. I feel happy about that. As we go through this, I'm sure many of you have heard of the 4 stages of learning. This can apply to learning a new tennis swing. It can apply to this stuff. So the first stage of learning is unconscious incompetence, which is where you don't even realize you're using these listening roadblocks. You're just spurting them out there and, you know, you don't know. I mean, when else do you get to learn about this stuff, right? You might take it in the workplace, but unless you had kids, would you really keep it up? I mean, don't kids just force you to look at yourself and get you to look at your behavior? They do, because you care that much. So the conscious incompetence. And then there's stage 2. Well, the first one was unconscious incompetence. And stage 2 is conscious incompetence, where you're going to leave here and you're going to notice every time you use one of these listening don'ts, it could get very quiet around your house next week. And it's an important part of learning, because you've got to be able to work through the times when you hear yourself speaking this way. And then you're going to go, oh, I'm going to start using some of this stuff. So then it feels super phony. If you're doing this as a couple, don't look at your partner and say, oh, you're using that stuff from the parenting course. Don't use that. Psychobabble on me. Please don't do that. Because that person in front of you is trying to change relationship patterns. This is an act of love to try to connect in a way that creates more intimacy. So the conscious competence is when you are doing kind of what Tom was doing in the skit. What I hear you saying is, just a minute, I've got my feeling chart in front of me. You are frustrated and annoyed. And believe me, they will be feeling annoyed as you go through this. You got to make it through that awkward stage, because you get to the unconscious competence where it really becomes second nature. You may not always do it, but when you need to do it, you know how.